That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.
For a split second, Harry thought it was another leprechaun formation. Then he realized that it was a colossal skull comprised of what looked like emerald stars, with a serpent protruding from its mouth like a tongue. As they watched, it rose higher and higher, blazing in a haze of greenish smoke etched against the black sky like a new constellation. Suddenly, the wood all around them erupted with screams. What's up, potheads? Welcome to the Restricted Section, a show in which a bunch of nerds with potty mouths reread the Harry Potter series for the umpteenth time and discuss the way that the story and its themes have stayed with a generation into adulthood. Thanks for listening. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about today. Chapter 9, The Dark Mark. It's the night after the Quidditch World Cup, and the Weasleys and company awaken in the middle of the night to a riot going on around them. Some people in hoods and masks have abducted the muggles who run the campsite and are literally terrorizing them. So Ron, Harry, and Hermione run into the woods for safety, where Harry realizes that he's lost his wand. After a series of kind of funny encounters, a disembodied voice casts the sign of Voldemort into the sky, a skull with a serpent in its mouth, the Dark Mark. The Dad Brigade, also known as very important members of the Ministry of Magic, appear to catch the culprit. But they are disappointed to find only the Golden Trio and eventually Winky, Barty Crouch's house elf. Despite it being extremely unlikely that Winky cast the Dark Mark, Crouch dismisses her from his service, and it's extremely fucked up. Welcome to the Restricted Section, where it's all trauma all the time. We're so sorry. I'm delighted to be joined today by my co-host, Mary-Peyton. Say hello to the listeners, Mary-Peyton.
Hello, listeners.
And we are so freaking excited because our special guest today is Beth Reekles, author of the Kissing Booth series, which is now a Netflix film series, and also the upcoming Love Lockdown, which just revealed its cover last week. We're so freaking excited. Welcome, Beth.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We are so excited to have you here. We've heard you on some of the WB&E shows. We're kind of like, our network is friends with their network, you know. And we're just so glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, I mean, anytime, please.
So tell us a little bit about your very hairy history. When did you get into the books? When did you get into the movies? What's the story there?
I know I saw the movies as they were coming out in cinema, and the books, I was trying to work this out yesterday because I know I had to wait around for book 5. So I must have been about 7 when I read books 1 to 4. And then that's how I got into first writing fan fiction. Although then, I didn't do that again until I was in university because I was so impatient waiting for Order of the Phoenix to come out. I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a little story about, Harry at the Dursleys at the end of summer and, how's he going to get out of there?
That's awesome.
I remember very vividly, though, that it involved Fred and George and a homemade portkey that was a little bit dubious to get him out of Privet Drive.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that sounds exactly right. I love that. Yeah, when the book you need isn't there, just write it yourself.
Yeah. But, huge fan to the point where, my teacher when I was about 10, 11 in school had to, tell my parents at a parents' evening or something like, Bethan needs to read something that is not Harry Potter. And I ended up reading The Other Boleyn Girl instead because I was like, well, I like the Tudors, so...
Oh, okay. Yeah, a little tonally different. I do remember when I was in school that when book reports got assigned, Harry Potter was usually banned. They're like, there are no new takes. Sorry, don't. Yeah. And that was 20 years ago, and here we are with this podcast now.
Yeah. Still trying to make it new and fresh.
There are new takes.
There are always new takes.
Yeah. So, Beth, what Hogwarts house do you think you are?
I'm a Gryffindor. I'm growing up.
Nice.
I always thought I was a Hufflepuff, but it turns out I just wasn't hanging out with the right people, and I am very much a Gryffindor.
Wow, I love that. I love that journey for you. I'm a little bit of the opposite, where I've definitely a Gryffindor in my youth, but I've come into my Hufflepuff side in my adulthood.
Yeah. I always used to get sorted into Gryffindor and be like, this is wrong. This quiz doesn't know me. And then
That's
I was
such
like,
a
oh no,
Gryffindor
the
thing
quiz
to
knew
say.
me better than I knew me.
Right.
That's like Harry telling the Sorting Hat where to put him, you know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I've definitely encountered that before where people thought they were one house, and then when the official test, which, how official is
Yeah.
it? But it tells them that they're in some other house, and they start doing some introspection, and they're like, you know what? I think this might be right.
Who am I, Hedwig? What am I?
That's what happened. That's definitely what happened with me because I got sorted into Slytherin, which was like the last house that I thought I belonged in. I thought Hufflepuff for sure, maybe Ravenclaw. But now that I am in Slytherin, or when I got sorted, I was like really upset. But then it feels kind of powerful. I kind of love it.
Ned, you claimed it.
Yes. We're taking back Slytherin. We have so many excellent Slytherins on our network.
Not so much in this chapter, but
hard no. Hard no on that one. Before we get to the chapter, just a little bit of housekeeping / announcements. First of all, happy Halloween. Halloween's on Sunday, so happy freaking Halloween to everyone. And that also means happy birthday to Mary-Peyton, who's a literal witch.
Oh my god, happy birthday.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'll be turning 152.
You look great for your age. I wouldn't have pegged you for a day over 120.
Thank you. It's that skincare routine.
Yeah, Mary-Peyton's birthday is on Halloween, which is one of my favorite things about you. I never forget your birthday.
Yeah, it's nice. I don't have to worry about people forgetting it ever. I mean, now that I'm getting older, I kind of wish people would. But I've never had to worry about it.
Awesome. Well, on that note, let's dive right into it. So this chapter picks up where the last chapter left off. The Quidditch World Cup has just ended, so the gang heads back to the campsite. They go to bed, despite the fact that there's like raucous singing on the night,
Leprechauns celebrating everywhere.
This is not the kind of place where you want to go to sleep immediately after.
Right. I think it would be very hard to be a child at an event like this because it's bedtime and it's like, well, the energy is not bedtime.
Yeah.
Especially when your house or where you're sleeping is only protected by a canvas,
Yes.
and you're going to hear literally everything right outside.
I feel like there are some wizard parents who have put a silence charm around their tent. Like, no, it is bedtime. You will sleep.
Oh, yeah, like Muffliato on
Yes.
their kids. Yeah, just go to sleep. This gives me flashbacks to music festivals where there's music until 6 a.m. And it's not good vibes to tell people to be quiet. So you just need to suffer. But my husband's a DJ, so I'm pretty good at going to sleep with music thumping. To his dismay. So Harry's dreaming of being a Quidditch player, which good for him. Most of his dreams have a little too much hidden meaning. This one seems to be just a hashtag goals dream.
Yeah.
But then Mr. Weasley wakes them up. They're shouting urgently. The vibe is now bad. It's not good. There's a riot going on. Mr. Weasley basically is get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and Mr. Weasley is putting on his jeans over his pajama pants, which
so many questions.
Well, I can't, I really can't decide whether it's one, that he's just in that much of a rush, or two, if maybe there's something about wearing those muggle type clothes that he's confused about or something. I don't know.
No way. He has to know how jeans
Yeah, I
work.
guess. Okay, all right.
I just picture him being in too much of a hurry, but the logistics of trying to pull jeans over ye old classic PJ bottoms.
I mean, he probably looks like a more passable muggle than the guy in the poncho and the kilt. So
Wow. So true.
I love that guy.
I wonder if he's wearing shorts. But okay, here I actually have a question for you, Beth. So this is August. This event is happening in August.
Yep.
And Mr. Weasley tells them to put on their coats. Is it cold at night in the UK in August?
Depends. If it's one of our few days of heat wave, then no, you will just be sweltering.
Okay.
But for the most part, yeah, you probably want a jacket. And given that they've gone out to the marshes or whatever for the Quidditch World Cup, then I did not question the coats.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm glad we have a professional British person on the show because we live in the south of the United States. So in October, it still is like pretty hot at night. You don't need a jacket.
Yeah, no, I mean, I buy it completely that they needed coats.
They needed coats. Well, especially because you don't know what's going to happen, how long they're going to be out there.
Yeah, and it's the middle of the night, so.
Yeah. I think it's like a bad sign that Mr. Weasley is like, you are not being supervised. Like, just flee for your lives, basically, is like what he's doing right now. Like, it's really bad.
Yeah, like he just tells them to stick together and run into the woods. Yeah. Which, like, when you're one adult there tells you to do that, it's not good.
Yeah.
But I mean, on the other hand, he's talking to, like, a couple of teenagers who have faced down Voldemort at least twice by now, so...
That's true.
True.
I think that the difference here is, like, the sensory overload. It's like... I think that most of these people probably knew something bad was happening, like, even before they woke up, you know? Like, somewhere in their subconscious, they could, like, hear the screaming and stuff and, like...
Yeah.
Ooh, just wake up in a panic. It's not good.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so there's a mob. They're marching. That is bad. That's bad news. That's a bad sign. God, it's just like, it's hard to even like say out loud. They are floating. But that's like, sounds like a nicer word than what it is. They're like,
I mean, levitating works pretty well.
Yeah, levitate, so. Like non-consensual levitation.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
It's Mr. Roberts, the campsite manager, whom we met a couple chapters ago. He's the one who's been having to be obliviated like every 10 minutes because he knows that something's
on to what's going on.
So like somewhere deep in his like psyche, he already knew something was afoot, and then him and his wife and his children got abducted and are being like tortured via pretty much like fear and humiliation. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah, I mean, in my head, before I read this chapter again for this, I was like, oh, they're unconscious. But they are not.
They're not. They're
I mean, it was already
aware.
pretty terrible. And then realizing that they are wide awake as this is going on, I was like, nope. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Things have got very dark very fast.
They're talking about how, so there's like a mob of Death Eaters, right? We don't know that word yet, but there's a mob of Death Eaters in hoods and masks in the middle, and they're surrounded by this wall pretty much of like drunk fuckboys, right? Who like they're just like happy for the chaos. Probably a lot of drunk Irish people, like they just won the earlier tonight, like everyone's lit. So, but they're talking about how they don't want to cast a spell that might hit the Roberts. But, I mean, why not cast, like a spell to knock them out? Because if you knock them out, that'll be so much better. And then if you hit one of the bad guys, they'll go down. Like, that's the answer.
Wow, you just solved it actually right there. That's
like, someone please knock out these muggles.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, just a quick Petrificus Totalis slip, but I think they're still kind of conscious for that, so I don't think that is any better. So I take that one back.
It gets worse.
They'll just be frozen, yeah.
Being Petrificus Totalis is like my worst fear in the world. It just sounds terrible.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, if it's anything like sleep paralysis, nope, no thank you.
Yeah, do you get sleep paralysis, Beth?
I have a couple of times this year, and I was like, oh, that's no fun.
Yeah.
No. Why?
I get it chronically as well, and it's pretty much the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Yep, that's what I imagine being Petrificus Totalis is like.
Yeah, totally. This mob, they're blasting and trampling tents. They flip Mrs. Roberts upside down and expose her underwear.
I mean, that is definitely a part that my brain just blanked out on thinking about this chapter.
I know. How did I read this when I was 14? Like, how was I okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
But I mean, there's a bit there where it refers to like her voluminous drawers as if that's like something to mock, and I'm like, I would be very glad of the extra coverage.
That's literally what I was thinking too.
And she was sleeping. I wear my most voluminous drawers when I sleep.
Yeah.
I think everyone does.
Yeah.
They are spinning the littlest kid like a top. There's a frowny face in my notes. Just, it's not good. It's really bad. I almost think that, like, as a kid, your brain is just like, oh, bad stuff. And you just kind of skip.
Yeah. You just glaze over it all as like, oh no, bad things happened in this chapter.
Right. Just like bad guys doing bad stuff.
Yeah.
But like as an adult, this is like pretty hard to read. And I understand why they did not include this in the films because that would have been really hard to look at.
Yeah. It's similar to in the 7th book, I guess, when they're at Malfoy Manor. And who do they have up?
The Muggle Studies teacher. I don't remember.
Oh,
her
that's
name.
right.
Charity Burbage? Am I making that up?
Charity Burbage.
Nice.
Well done.
Killed it. You know, I feel like we had to wait for the 7th and 8th films for that kind of darkness to be shown.
Right, yeah. And if I remember correctly, I'm not going to look it up. Well, I think the rating changes somewhere from PG.
I was going to say, like, I'm sure I went to the cinema and it was like a 12 or a 12A or something, like, you know. Go with guidance.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what... You have different guidance.
We have different ratings, yeah.
I think that if I remember correctly, 1 through 4 are PG, or like maybe 4 is PG-13, and then like randomly 6 is also rated PG, but like the other ones are PG-13.
Yeah, you said that before.
I reckon it's the spider funeral, you know, the pincers, they unnerve some people.
Yeah, Mary-Peyton, we actually talked about this on our bonus episode that we released last Halloween, Scary Potter,
Nice,
with Scary Clay and Scary Peyton.
Of course.
So Arthur, Percy, Bill, and Charlie, they're going to help the Ministry. All hands on deck. Charlie doesn't work for them. I don't know. I might have like made Charlie go with the children as like a official supervisor, especially for Harry. He's gonna get into something, you know he is.
That's for sure. Trouble will find him.
Yeah, but I guess it's probably just like, all hands on deck, like whoever is a good person with a wand.
Yeah, they're probably like, Harry can take care of himself enough versus these muggles.
God, it's just bananas how much he actually can't take care of himself.
They really have no idea. They
right.
think they know.
I've just been listening to the Adventure Zone, and it's very much like Magnus rushes in, and I'm like, this is what Harry Potter would do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so
Just
funny.
charge right on in.
Anytime anyone charges right in, I'm like, fucking Gryffindor. I don't understand that energy. Arthur tells the kids to flee into the woods. I'm a little confused. Like, I understand that Arthur wants them to get away from the danger, but like, I would probably be like, go to like X location, like go to where the port key came in, like somewhere away, but not like possibly lost in the woodlands of Britain.
Yeah. I wonder if that's just, in that moment where he's overwhelmed by stuff and just trying to keep everyone safe. And he's like, we have to go to the woods. I don't know. That looks probably the safest in that moment.
Yeah, and I guess the portkey place is like back through the campsite, so they would have had to like go past all the Death Eaters, isn't it? All the burning tents and everything. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, because their tent is like near the woods, right? Like it's
which is near the stadium. So, but I probably would, even the stadium, I would have been like, go to like the opposite side of the stadium. Like just anything so that they don't get lost forever in the woods.
I know.
They'll send an owl and find them.
Owls can find people no matter what, even if they're a dog.
True.
I guess I've just read too many scary stories about people getting lost in the woods.
It's so Bertha Jorkins.
Oh, Bertha Jorkins. What if Harry gets Bertha Jorkins?
Exactly. I mean, Ludo's definitely not going to care, so someone needs to.
Oh my God, Ludo's like, stupid little Harry. He'll wander on back in his own time.
The worst.
All right, I just can't even get into Bertha Jorkins right now.
I know.
I just my only note is just the imagery here is incredibly upsetting.
I mean, true.
And then we like move right swiftly on. The woods are also chaos because everyone has the same idea. It's like such a stressful. This whole chapter is so visceral. Like I was like feeling anxiety as I was reading it.
Yeah. And the woods, you said the woods are all chaos except for one person who's like completely chill, leaning up against a tree in the woods.
Yeah, that heavy sigh kind of is exactly the reaction that I had.
Just like, now is not the time, Malfoy.
I'm just like picturing him like leaned up against that tree, crossing his ankles, you know, just like chilling there.
They lose Ginny and the twins pretty much right away. In the movie, I think Arthur says, Fred and George, Ginny is your responsibility. But he doesn't say that in the books.
Yeah, you're right.
Fred just kind of grabs Ginny and is like, we're out of here, guys. Come on.
Yeah, and I like that so much more. Like, they absolutely don't need instruction to take care of Ginny. Like,
it was really cute. I think it's Fred just grabs her hand, I think.
Yeah.
Or something, but I just thought that was such a cute moment.
Yeah, I imagine her, like, holding both of their hands, you know, like, between them. Because they're not going to lose each other. So she's, like, sandwiched in between. Yeah. I love their relationship. I love Ginny's relationship with all her brothers, particularly the twins. They just get each other.
I like it. Like, I know it's earlier in the book, but when she's, like, defending Bill's fashion choices to their mum.
She's got to be cool. She's the only girl. So, yeah, Malfoy's there now. Just lurking.
Just being a little shit.
Do you think Lucius Malfoy was like, hey, son, I'm about to do some Nazi shit. You should go on a walk. Like, I don't, like, what's going on?
I can kind of imagine Lucius being just kind of getting into it. Almost like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. And Narcissus is like, Draco, get your ass out of here.
Oh, yeah, Narcissa.
Do you guys think this was and I can't remember if everyone knows this later in the book or not, but that this was something that was planned well before the World Cup, or if these Death Eaters just got together and decided to do this day of?
There isn't a costume involved.
Oh, right.
So I think maybe it had to have been planned ahead of time because they all brought their cute little Nazi outfits.
Oh, yeah.
Those cute little masks and hoods. Yep. Yeah, it confused me. I think, Christina, you clarified for me earlier, actually, because it says that people joined in and like were laughing and having a great time. But you said it was just like a bunch of drunk people who were just like also thinking it was funny. And
yeah, I think that
makes more sense than I was picturing, like more Death Eaters joining. And I was like, how is this happening? Like a flash mob or something. You know?
That makes it sound fun.
I know.
We'll just run in. It'll be really surprising. We'll just torture some muggles real quick. No one's going to see it coming.
Everyone set your alarm for exactly 2 a.m.
Set your watches.
Set your watches.
They probably, planned it really intentionally because it's a big international event and they did it at a time where everyone is drunk. Like, I'm just assuming everyone's drunk.
Yeah, or at least partying hard enough that no one's going to notice.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like there's too much already going on. Draco Malfoy threatens Hermione, saying that she will be targeted as a mudblood, which sounds like a promise, right? Because he sounds like he knows. Harry asks if Draco's parents are out there wearing masks, which I think we alluded to this before, but like probably Lucius, yes. Narcissa, no. Do we think Narcissa's just like in the tent drinking a glass of red wine, rolling her eyes?
Just like, damn it, Lucius, not again.
I hope so. I really hope so.
I mean, she doesn't seem to be from like later in the books a Death Eater necessarily herself. Like, she doesn't have, I mean, I'm guessing she doesn't have the dark mark like Draco does and Lucius and everyone.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I mean, she's as good as, but yeah.
Right, she's complicit. But we don't get to see hardly any female Death Eaters. I think that it would be really hard for me to obscure my forearm for my entire life in my cute little ladies' outfits, you know? Like, I don't think... Like, Lucius wears a suit every day.
I'm just imagining Voldemort telling his female followers, like, oh, no, okay, the Death Eater thing, like, you guys can't do that because You have to be able to wear your cute little
Right. So for you, it can
lady
be,
outfits.
we'll just do a classic tramp stamp on your back instead.
Yeah, perfect.
Or like a butt tattoo. They're like, my butt is burning. That means he's back.
I just can't. That's too much.
Yeah, Narcissa. She probably, like, the reason that I assume she's mad is because I feel like a lot of the readers build a lot of story around Narcissa, so there's a lot, like, implied about her character. So, like, if I were her, I would be really angry at Lucius for threatening the stable life that we have developed with our young son ever since his last fascist overlord, died or was defeated or whatever. They've been straight chillin', doing minor villain stuff, not major villain stuff for 11 years or 40, whatever, how old they are. And so if I were her, I would be really fucking mad at him for, like, threatening that.
Yeah, I feel she gives me the vibes of like a woman who's cleaning up messes a lot and constantly sort of the men in her life just like showboating all the time, you know, and she's just like the one that's back there like, you shut up, you're an idiot. Like I had to clean up your dishes this morning. Don't talk like you even do your own dishes, okay?
Right. Yeah, and then later her entire home gets taken over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and her sister and her husband are both like, this is great. This is what we're doing now.
If my husband came to me and was like, hey, no big deal, we have to keep prisoners in the house.
Some of the boys are coming over.
Yeah, I'd be like, there's no prisoners in the house. Like, we're not torturing in the house. This is our home.
I just got this rug, Lucius. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah, so she really puts up with a lot. Which is why it's so great at the end when she tells her little lie. Anyway, I think that her whole character, like, rests in that one moment,
Yeah, everything else is headcanon.
Yeah. Harry tries to light his wand. Whoops. It's missing.
Harry.
Get a holster for it. Why are they keeping their wands in their pockets anyway? That makes no fucking sense.
How long are their pockets?
I was going to say, how big are their pockets? Like,
yeah, I had no idea.
I can understand in guys' jeans, but where is Hermione keeping hers? Like, does she just carry it around everywhere? Does she have, like, a special little bag that it goes in?
That'd be
like
cute.
when I go to the grocery store and I have to carry my wallet and my keys and my phone all in my hand while grocery shopping, and it's the worst.
Purse. Get a purse.
I know. Okay.
Or you need
whatever,
a coat with some really big pockets.
Yeah, trench coat. Winky comes stumbling out of the woods. Quote, it was as though someone invisible were trying to hold her back.
I wonder who.
Yeah. God, it's just this whole section is so tragic.
I know, it's so painful.
It's so painful. The trio is like, she's probably just struggling because she didn't ask for permission to hide, which that's not exactly how house elves work. I think it's like she would have had to have been expressly forbidden to hide, which would be like so fucked up to say to someone.
Yeah.
If things go south at the Quidditch World Cup, Winky, do not hide. Do not run.
Face down your fears.
Oh my God.
We're laughing, but it's tragic. That's the whole theme of this show. We're laughing because of trauma.
Yep.
They keep stumbling across these, like, weird and incongruous, like, vignettes, basically. Like, I almost imagine, like a stage production where it's, like, a spotlight on, like, a tableau, and then it goes out, and they stumble, and then, like, another spotlight, and, like, it's Stan Shumpike now.
Yeah, and then you've got, like, the lady in blue. Well, she's probably not wearing her school uniform, to be fair. She's like... Where is Madame Maxime? Hogwarts.
They're so stupid. They're like, what? Instead of being like, I don't speak French. Sorry. They're like, whoa.
I specifically love that Hermione takes the time at this moment, though, to tell them where she read about Beauxbatons.
It's like a reflex.
Yeah.
It's like when people are like, to me, they're like, I like your dress. And I'm like, thanks, it was on sale for $8. It's like, I can't not say that part.
Yeah, that's very true.
Thanks, it has pockets.
She always has to cite her sources.
My dress has pockets.
Yes. Yeah, Stan Shunpike, there's some Vila, and Ron gets possessed. He's like, why is Ron, like, more susceptible to Vila? Is it because he's just, like, hot-blooded generally?
I had the same thought reading the chapter, like, but Harry, why not? Like,
yeah, Harry's, like, full adrenaline right now.
You were gonna jump out of the box earlier, so...
Yeah. Yeah, and
What changed?
and then later when Fleur comes to Hogwarts, Ron is like extra affected. I don't know why. It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only assume that maybe Harry has the emotional range of a teaspoon at this point, and Ron maybe does not. And maybe Ron is kind of more at that point in being a 14-year-old boy where he's like, girls, OMG.
Right. Yes. Harry does not. I mean, his interest in girls is like so like weak, like late. Like even when he starts having a crush on Cho, it's basically like nothing, you know. He's just
It's like,
oh,
oh, she's really good at Quidditch.
Yeah, that's the foundation of any good relationship. We're both great at Quidditch.
I mean, no wonder he likes Ginny.
It's true. Jenny, she's so cool. Ludo Bagman appears in a tableau in the night.
Literally pops in and out.
Yeah, he's like very confused. The children have to inform him that there's a riot happening, and he just like swears and leaves again.
He's too busy with like his fraudulent leprechaun goal to have any awareness right now.
Oh, you can see him spiraling. It's that part's like not hard to look at. It's just like, dude, come on.
Do we know? I don't remember why he's already looking strained, but also doesn't know that there's a riot happening.
I think he probably like bet pretty heavily
Oh,
like in a direction that like did not happen at the World Cup. So people are already coming at him for their winnings, and he like just he doesn't have anything.
he's hiding in the woods already.
Yeah. But now that there's like, so he could have probably just dipped out, except for that there's a riot happening. So he like his absence will be noticed now.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
he almost made it. Almost made it.
Could have been halfway to, I don't know, where do people go? Tijuana, I don't know. Let's say Bermuda. They hear someone stumbling in the darkness and they're like, hello.
Who's there?
Who's there? We're just 3 children. One of us doesn't even have a wand.
We're just playing with our action figures. Go away.
Yeah, Ron is just chilling with his little crumb action figure. That's like all he has to ground him to the real world right now. The silence is rent by a voice casting a mysterious spell. Mors Morta!
I mean, you cannot read that in the book without hearing David Tennant yelling it.
Yes,
So true.
completely. Oh my god. So well cast. That was my introduction to David Tennant, and like, what an introduction.
So good.
It's so good.
And he'd lick his lips right after it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So gross.
Ugh. So, a green skull with a snake coming out of its mouth. That's what it is. It appears, it grows, it flies over the treetops. This is our first look at the Dark Mark, name of the chapter.
I also appreciate that we get sort of Harry's Muggle world perspective on things. So, like, you hear it glows like a neon sign, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So we get to know what that's like.
Yeah, totally. That does paint like a picture right away.
Yeah, which we wouldn't get if Harry was just Wizard Harry, you know.
Yeah, it was just like it was sparkly.
It runs on electricity.
There are screams. People are screaming. Would you scream if you saw something like that?
I mean, I think Mr. Weasley does a really good job. I know it's later in the chapter of explaining why it's so terrifying to people. Because if I saw that, I would probably be mesmerized. I would think it looked really cool and scary in a way, but not terror, not a feeling of terror. But he does such a good job of explaining like that when people used to see that 13 years ago, it meant
Death.
Their loved ones were dead
Yeah.
or someone else was dead, and it was just happening over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would very much depend on if I knew or not. And I think either way, my reaction might be like to slink quietly in between the trees and back away.
That is exactly the thing. I think this all the time when I'm like watching scary movies and stuff and people are screaming. Like, it just seems like it's, unless you're being like, unless you're trying to actively get help, right? Screaming like the bad guy's gonna know where you are, like, I think I would just fall dead silent. Maybe, yeah, get a little mesmerized and probably just try to like quickly get away. But yeah, it was probably really shocking in the confusion. Hermione tries to get them all to run, but suddenly they are surrounded by over 20 wizards. I'm going to call them the Dad Patrol. It's all dads.
I mean, that is what they are.
It's Arthur Weasley, it's Barty Crouch, it's Amos Diggory. That's pretty much all. There's like one witch who gets some dialogue. She could be a dad. We don't know.
In a woolly dressing gown.
Notably missing, Lucius Malfoy.
And no one seems to really make a comment about that at all.
Because he could be, in like very dramatic air quotes, he could be like handling something somewhere else, you know?
He's looking after his wife and child.
Right, exactly.
Cut him some slack, you know?
The trio ducks. They avoid being stupefied. Pretty smart. I mean, everyone thinks they cast the Dark Mark. But so Arthur finally recognizes them and comes forward to protect them.
That's my son.
That's my boy.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord.
Amos Diggory is like, I just got the weirdest deja vu. They go back and forth at length because Barty Crouch Sr. thinks that the kids made the mark. I get it. That is something that like a shitty teenager would do. But like, how do you, I think the witch or someone makes the point, like, how could they know how to do this? It's like, you can't just find this in a book.
Yeah, and it hasn't been seen by anyone, reportedly at least, since they were born or not even born yet, so.
Right.
I love that Crouch uses, like, Amos has the same logic as Crouch. It's like, oh, okay, so here is evidence the kids must have done it. And then Crouch does a complete 180. He's like, Harry Potter? Do this? Like, no. Even though he just spent like half a page being like, you did it. I know you did it.
Everyone is like straight wilding out right now. And I think that part of why they're so quick to accuse the kids is because a couple of shitty kids doing something like this is so much better than the alternative.
Yeah.
That it was done by a supporter of Lord Voldemort in dead seriousness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, I just got chills down my spine. Scary. Everyone, I mean, generally people are pretty skeptical that the kids could have managed this. Amos Diggory goes to check the bushes where the kids heard the incantation because their stunning spells went in every direction. How did they not stun each other?
I know, I wondered that. Like, how big is this circle and how bad is their aim?
Yeah, it really seems like they should have been aiming better. So Amos comes back from the woods carrying the unconscious Winky. God damn it.
Her little limp body.
Never has any character been as victimized by the plot of Harry Potter as Winky the house elf.
Right.
She's been sacrificed for the story.
Man, and Barty Crouch, frankly, handles this very well, I think. Or maybe it's just the circumstance. Like, he is, like, so unwilling to believe that his house elf could have done this that he goes to check for maybe someone else, right? It just, like, the cover is so good. It makes perfect sense.
Well, is it at this point that he is, like, thinking that maybe his son is...
That's my son!
Back?
Exactly.
My boy.
He exactly knows that it's his son, but it makes perfect sense that he would go for, like, this other reason.
Right.
I mean, if he is like in pure shock doing this, though, he does a great job of like not giving anything away.
Yeah, he does. He's acting very well, but I think that's because he's been doing it for a while. He's been lying about this for a long time. It's his like only secret.
Yeah,
he's committed very hard, a little too hard. He's the only person who knows exactly what is going on here in this scene, but it's so out of his control. Like, Winky had a wand on her. Oh, so Barty Crouch is like, oh yeah, no one's there. Which we know that there was someone there.
And we know that he knows.
And yeah.
But they don't know that we know that they know that we know.
Yeah, Winky had a wand, which is illegal because she is like a non-human. Which sucks, but also it's cool. She doesn't need a wand. Her magic is just really badass.
Yeah, I wonder why they even had to make that into a law.
Yeah, interesting.
Kind of weird.
Just racism?
Well, okay.
Just institutionalized racism?
Yeah,
maybe?
There it is. I don't know why I'm thinking there could be another reason.
No, I get what you're saying, though, because like a lot of the times you hear about laws and you're like, what happened that they had to make this a law? Like, who took
which house elf went like...
Yeah, just totally bonkers with a wizard wand. At this point, Ludo Bagman rolls up.
In classic Ludo fashion.
Yep.
The annoying part is he makes them repeat exactly what they just said
I know.
a moment before. I would just be like, Ludo, listen, I'm sorry you weren't here. We're not going to re-explain it to you.
I honestly wonder if this was a writing technique, because this is the first book of this complexity and this length and this density in the series. Most of the readers are children, and this is the first chapter where a lot of things are happening all at once. So I almost wonder if they, you know, the gods who wrote this book, were like, just to be clear, let's repeat what just happened.
We know there's a lot going on. As a child, you probably have not comprehended a lot of the real bad shit that's gone down in this chapter.
Just in case you're confused, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's like putting a little wink right after you say something, you know, like adding it like
a little winky.
Oh,
yeah, they're like, look at the clues, look at what's happening. Okay, so Amos Diggory revives Winky. Okay, if it wasn't bad before, it's like super bad now. I don't like watching this. She immediately starts having a panic attack, just a straight up panic attack. Absolutely no one cares at all. Even the people who are like, she probably didn't do it, don't really care that she's like that upset. She claims she didn't do it. Amos starts like waving. Amos is like such a loose cannon right now. He's like waving around this wand that Winky was found with, but Harry recognizes it as his own missing wand. So then it's like, oh, well, you cast it then. Well, then surely she cast it. Well, you certainly cast it. Like, just so.
You just want someone to be guilty, damn it.
Yeah.
Someone, anyone besides an actual Death Eater, please. Like a formless voice in the woods is like not who you want to be casting this spell.
Yeah, so he's like, better option, Harry Potter or the house elf. Perfect. I have my culprits.
Harry. Everyone's always like, you're good or you're evil. There's like no in between for Harry. It's either like he's being accused of being like the chosen one or being accused of like doing a horrible crime. And like, just, why can't you just think he's like a normal guy?
Yeah, like I get it that, you know, when they say like Harry's the least likely to have cast this, but they do it so quickly, considering that they, I think, are trying to assume that it was someone who didn't really mean it, you know, like who isn't an actual Death Eater, right? So like Harry could be an asshole and just like a teenager just messing with stuff.
Or
and
he's misinformed about what that means.
Right, yeah.
Patchy education of Voldemort's rise to power.
Oh my god, that reminds me of like when I don't know why this memory just like came to me, but like when I was much younger, I was like talking in elementary school, I was talking to my friend Lauren, and I was like, can you write something down for me? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll spell it for you, F. And she was like, okay, F. Okay. And then I was like, U. And she was like, okay, cool, U. And then I was like, C. And she was like, okay, C, great. And I was like, K. And she was like, I'm not gonna write that. Like, Harry, just cast this thing. It's like this fun party thing. Like, people will love it. And then he casts it and he's like, hey.
That would be so good.
It's just a flashy neon lights. I don't get it.
I thought this was a party. They're accusing Winky. Hermione points out that the spell was cast by a deep voice, not a Winky voice. I mean, you would know if a house elf was the one who said anything ever at any time. Like, it's not subtle. Amos Diggory performs a little Priori Incantatum. That'll probably never come up again.
Yeah.
And then a tiny little dark mark comes out of the wand. So cute.
A cute little miniature.
Confirming that it was the last spell cast on that wand. How would you feel using your wand after this? If someone like took your wand and violated it?
I would feel like I needed to cast a lot of spells. Like, do you know when if someone sends you a picture, I'm particularly thinking of like my family in the group chat and the 8-legged interloper variety.
Oh, I see.
Which freaks the heck out of me, and I will just like spam the chat to like get it off the screen.
Yes.
I'm like, nope, do not need that. Just cast like Accio, Lumos, Alohomora, all of these things. Just like
yeah, like rinse it out.
Right, rinse it out
for sure. My siblings, whenever one of my siblings, whenever she accidentally cusses in the like family chat, she'll say "flood the chat," and then we're all supposed to just say as much as we can.
Amos then casts Deletrius to erase the image, which is, we've talked
So
before
funny.
about how some of these spells are a little etymologically transparent, some more than others. Deletrius.
What are you talking about? What could Deletrius possibly mean?
It's just the stupidest spell. Like, surely he should be able to just whoosh it away with his hand. I don't know.
Erasio.
I want to know what other things it might delete. Is it only for deleting the miniature version of a previous spell? Like, is that specifically what it's for? Can you delete a person? That would be way more. You could just do that instead of Avada Kedavra.
I wonder if it serves as like an eraser.
Yeah.
It's funny because the word delete is like contemporarily, it like really has only like technological associations. Like you don't delete things in real life. It's only on the computer. It's like, it just seems like a dad thing. It's like, where's the Deletrius button? Arthur suggests that perhaps Winky grabbed the wand after someone else discarded it. And it's so sad here because Winky cannot tell the story of what actually happened, which is that she was protecting Barty Crouch's like most biggest secret. And she failed, and, like, his son did this. Like, she has no explanation.
She's just so sad.
Yeah.
But this next bit annoys me so much, both, like, just on principle for Winky because the injustice, but also from a point of view of, if Mr. Crouch was really trying to keep his son a secret, he does, like, just the most ridiculous thing.
Right.
By casting Deletrius on Winky from his household.
Right. Yeah.
We're going to use that for everything now.
Because, I mean, and maybe that's because he, like, knows Winky so well to know that her loyalty will go on forever, which is fucked up. But, like, yeah, the second you dismiss her, she's no longer bound to keep your family secrets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he tells Winky she will be receiving clothes as punishment. It's later revealed that he had to do this because she had failed him in, like, her one job of keeping Barty Crouch Jr. under wraps. But, like, yeah, it just seems like she could do so much more good if he kept her and let her help resolve the situation, you know?
Yeah, or at least, like, less potential damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering because he says, let me handle it instead of taking her to the ministry or wherever to be questioned. So I think that's the one thing that he can do in front of everyone that proves that he's taking it very seriously and that he, you know, even if she didn't do it, that she's done these bad things and he's going to lose sort of some of his power, I think, if he just says he's going to handle it and they go away together as a family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think it's weird that, you know, they're obviously building up the whole Hermione spew thing in this chapter.
Yeah.
And I think it's strange that Hermione, because she knows what clothes mean, and I know that she knows that Winky having to leave the family and being accused of this thing make Winky very upset, and she doesn't know what's going to happen to her, but also it's her gaining freedom, and she just yelled at Ron for saying house elves like doing that.
Right.
And then a house elf is technically being freed in a terrible way, but still being freed, and she's upset about that too.
I think it's probably just, like, empathy for Winky's emotional reaction here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of like gut reaction, like, you have upset her, undo it now.
Yeah. I mean, because Winky immediately loses her head at this news. Like, she is really not okay. And it's just anyone hug her, even, like, smile at her. Just, like, anyone do anything for this person.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's over. Arthur asks for Harry's wand back. He leads his gang out of the woods. When they get out of the woods, there's a big crowd of people looking for answers. They're like, who cast this dark mark?
I love that they're like, Arthur Weasley, you are like a trusted ministry person. Tell us. We know you were involved. Like, we know that you would have been involved in fixing this. Tell us, Arthur. We trust you.
/ you obviously have Harry Potter with you, and he's involved in everything that goes down. Yeah, Arthur basically is just like, it's not Voldemort, but we also don't know whom the fuck it is, so bye.
I want to go to bed.
I want to go to
Piss
bed.
off.
Ginny and the twins have made it safely back to the tent. They probably had a good time. They probably had a good time running into the woods and then, like, making it out again.
Yeah, honestly. Especially Ginny, because I'm sure that if she got scared or upset, her brothers just made her laugh the whole time.
Yeah.
As
That's
much as
what I
possible.
was going to say the same thing. They're probably keeping it, like, very fun, you know?
They would be the best people in a crisis.
Yes.
To get stuck with.
Yes. So they all kind of are talking about what happened in the woods. Hermione and Arthur explain the meaning of the dark mark. As we mentioned, Voldemort and his followers cast it into the air wherever they killed.
And Hermione once again mentions the exact book she got this from.
Right. Just in case we want to do a bit of background reading.
Yeah.
We also learn about Death Eaters. We're getting introduced to a lot of stuff. I think this is really setting the tone for the rest of the book, where it's like, hey, this isn't just like one larger than life villain. This is like a system of villainy that still exists even though Trump is not president anymore. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I meant even though Voldemort has been defeated ostensibly.
Yeah.
It's a system. And the Death Eaters are still out there because a lot of them got away. A lot of them claimed that they were only doing Voldemort's work, you know, under the Confundus.
Under the influence.
Yeah, under the
whatever.
influence, exactly. Not Confundus, the other one.
Imperious.
It feels like it was one of the first times when I was reading it when I was younger that, like, good and evil are really complex
Right.
in these ways. I just thought it was really interesting when the dark mark gets cast and then the Death Eaters run scared.
Yeah.
And that's such a strange thing for Harry and them to see. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then is it Hermione who explains that they would be scared? I think it's Hermione.
Yeah, I don't
Says,
really
like,
remember.
think about it, as she always says. Think about it for a second.
Oh, it's Bill, and then Hermione's like, so is the dark mark helping us, or...
Right.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, because this is the first time that these Death Eaters have demonstrated in this way since the fall of Voldemort. And for them to all be together, really raising hell, and then, like, to see Voldemort's sign that, like, none of them cast, you know? Like, I assume that they were all, like, in a different location, and it was really obvious that this was, like, not part of it. This wasn't part of the plan. They planned it ahead of time, as we decided. And so, yeah, it's like, that's scary. Like, that's really scary. Like, if Voldemort's back, this is not what he wants us to be doing.
Yeah.
No.
I'm
Fucking partying.
like, oh shit, we done fucked up. Boss is here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all the Death Eaters escaped, but the Roberts family were luckily caught and physically safe. They're having their memories modified. I'm sure you have to bring in, like, literally, like, a memory expert to get rid of trauma like this.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, based on what we know about trauma, you can delete the memory, but that trauma is still inside you.
Yeah, I'm wondering about, like, the after effects that they would feel that they would never be able to explain. Like, the
Yeah.
dreams
Yeah.
they would have.
Yeah.
Maybe one day one of them will mention the dream to the other one and they'll be like, I had the same exact dream. And then they just, otherwise in their life, there's no magic, you know, and they just never know.
Yeah.
Or those,
That's
like,
crazy.
visceral reactions to, like, a certain situation or, like, sound or something. And they're like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why, but no thank you.
What if they all suddenly develop crowd anxiety?
Oh my God.
Yeah, like, together. Ugh, whatever. It just makes me so upset to think about it. So, yeah, everyone goes back to bed. Good night. Sleep tight.
The end.
And Harry's like, my letter.
So, yeah, pretty fucked up.
I love this chapter because it's one of the first chapters out of the series where there's so many hints that come out so much later.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, foreshadowing in these books is great really from the get-go, but this is where it really starts getting complex, and you can go back and be like, oh my God, there was an actual person,
Yeah.
like Barty Crouch Jr. literally existed in all of these scenes.
Right. He
Yeah.
was present.
And it made sense. It's just crazy.
And we just made excuses for it like Harry does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And on the flip side, there's, you know, things like Ludo Bagman, where you're like, he's clearly up to no good, but he's just a red herring the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, you know, the fan fiction reading, headcanon kind of Draco ultimately deserves more of a redemption than Snape, kind of side of me wants to be like, no, maybe he's just being, like, really mean to Hermione as a front for, like, no, you should get to safety. This is not going to be good for you. You need to go away. And then I'm like, no, Draco's just being an arse.
Yeah, that's like an interpretation of it. Yeah, but like, I pretty much
he's not there yet. He is just enjoying the chaos.
Yeah. It is hard to know at any point, like, what, like, exactly how Draco, because I think even he himself, like, doesn't know a lot of the time. Like, am I good? Am I bad?
I was going to say, I think sometimes, like, even if he maybe did mean, in this case, like you're talking about, that he wouldn't really know that he's even doing it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. He's just not that self-aware at that point,
He just wants to insult her and make all of them feel really bad while he feels really great about himself.
Malfoy is just like, what are you even doing in this chapter?
yeah, he's just like the way he just always pops up with that perfect one-liner.
Yeah.
You know,
dude,
that it just happens to be there. Like,
go to bed.
Go to bed.
Do something
His
else.
hobby is, like, lurking to deliver quippy one-liners at Harry Potter.
Yeah. All right, well, are y'all ready to move into some plugs?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. I would love to start by plugging our Patreon. We have one. We would love for you to support us over there. The link is in the show notes. This month's bonus episode, we sorted Brooklyn Nine-Nine characters into Hogwarts houses. That was a lot of fun. We love that show. And for as little as $1 a month, you can be a part of our Discord community where a lot of fun stuff happens all the time. So please consider joining us on our Patreon. Beth, will you please start by telling people where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Reekles, which is REEKLES. I'm on Instagram at author Beth Reekles, TikTok at Beth Reekles. You can find my books, The Kissing Booth, in pretty much like any bookshop, I guess, or wherever you want to buy books. And yeah, my new book, Love Lockdown, or the US edition is going to be called Lockdown on London Lane, which is coming out in February.
Cool. I didn't know that books sometimes did different titles. Well, I guess fucking prisoner. What? Philosopher's Stone.
What books are we talking about?
Yeah, that's so cool. I can't wait to read your new book. It's just.
I hope you guys like
so
it.
Cute. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so, what have you been reading, watching, listening to, playing, thinking about recently that you think our listeners might enjoy?
Oh god, I had like 3 of these prepared and now I've gone blank.
That's me every episode.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I've recently got into playing Dungeons and Dragons. I finally found some people to play with. So I recently bought the D&D Player's Handbook to read.
Hell yeah.
And I recently finished reading a book called Talk Bookish to Me, which was a really fun rom-com by a woman called Kate Bromley.
Awesome. I love a bookish romance. Like that is right up my alley.
Yeah.
It was really good fun.
Mary-Peyton, how about you? Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Richmond Reads. On Instagram at Richmond Reads. Don't even worry about my Twitter.
Right, because you don't use it.
I forgot I had one until you just asked me, you know? So the only plug I have is like one that I'm not even that into. It's just the only thing I'm really taking in at this moment, which is Squid Game.
I was going to say, don't plug it if you don't like it.
It's like, no, it's complex because I do definitely think I'm extra sensitive when it comes to mortality and things like that. I definitely feel it and, way overthink it. So this story does have a lot of that in it, but it is very interesting. It's definitely sucked me in, the fact that I keep wanting to watch more and more episodes. It's a really cool concept. So I do recommend taking it in if you can.
Not for the faint of heart.
Yes, exactly.
I've been your host, Christina. You can follow me on Instagram at Christina the Con. You can follow me on Twitter at Christina Con, and you can follow me on TikTok at Sprouts Private Stash. And this week I'm going to plug 9 Perfect Strangers, which is a Hulu miniseries based on the book series, the book by Leanne Moriarty, who also wrote Big Little Lies, which was like explosively popular on HBO or whatever a couple years ago. Really incredible writer. And the Hulu adaptation is so well executed. It's about psychedelic therapy. I mean, if you've done shrooms before, watching this show is a special experience. There's no way that the producers of this did not like do shrooms. Like there's no way to replicate it so perfectly. Really incredible. So Beth, thank you so much for joining us today. It's an absolute delight to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Good. I'm so glad. Yeah. So until next time, I gotta go finish reading Birthmark or Darkmark, A Guide to Wizarding Dermatology by Cyber Toaster before this book starts attracting wizard Nazis. Bye.
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 The Restricted Section is delighted to be a member of the Movie Night Crew podcast network, featuring other amazing podcasts such as Content and Capable. Having recently become an adult, Sam is on a quest to find out how to actually be one. Each week, Sam asks people how they are content with their life and feel capable as a functioning adult in society.
Hi, my name is Sam, and I've recently become an adult. But let's be honest, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Like, can I still enjoy the kiddie rides at theme parks? And how do I look important and feel relaxed while travelling? Join me as I ask people how they are content with their life and feel capable as a functioning adult in society. Each Monday, myself and a guest will chat about a topic they feel passionate about and our adventures and struggles of being an adult in the real world.
The Restricted Section was created by me, Christina Kahn, based on the book series by J.K. Rowling. All music by Ryan Kahn. Logo by Michael Hardison. Support us on patreon.com/restricted section. For as little as $1 a month, you can gain access to our Discord community server, which is a really happy place to be. And there are other rewards as well, such as bonus episodes and Zoom happy hour hangouts. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Restricted Section Pod, on Twitter at Restricted Pod, and on Facebook at Restricted Section Pod. Also, feel free to shoot us an email at restrictedsectionpod@gmail.com to share your thoughts, feelings, complaints, conspiracy theories, or even lavish praise. We're all just doing our best.
That movie sucked. I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.